What was structuralism in psychology? Who were the psychologists of structuralism? What kind of experiments were conducted? And what were the methods of experimentation in structuralism? Why were the methods of structuralism criticized? How and why did the structuralism ended as a school of thought in psychology? Let's find out the answers of all these questions in this video. Structuralism was a school of psychology that emerged in the late 19th century, primarily associated with the works of Wilhelm Wundt and Edward Titchener. Wilhelm Wundt established the very first experimental laboratory in Germany in the year 1879. Edward Titchener was a student of Wilhelm Wundt. Titchener continued the legacy of Wundt and nurtured and shaped the school of thought in psychology, which is now known as structuralism. Therefore, Edward Titchener is considered the father of structuralism. Structuralism says that the mind could be analyzed into different components such as sensations, perceptions, and emotions. The complex conscious experience is nothing but the combination of these basic elements. Wundt and after him Titchener attempted to classify the structures of the mind in the way a chemist broke down chemicals into their component parts, like water is broken down into hydrogen and oxygen. The proponents of this school claim that we can understand the structure of conscious experience by breaking it down into its basic elements. Introspection was the key method of experimentation in structuralism. Introspection is a method in which the subjects or the participants were supposed to report their own thoughts, sensations, and feelings. Structuralism focused on rigorous experimental methods. This brought attention of people to psychology as a scientific discipline at that era. It contributed to the establishment of psychology as a separate field of study and influenced subsequent schools of thought. Psychologists of this school conducted various experiments to study the basic elements of consciousness and the structure of the human mind. For example, they have conducted introspection studies in which participants were trained to observe their own conscious experiences such as sensations, perceptions, and feelings in response to specific stimuli. So the experimenter used to present a stimulus such as flashing a light or showing pictures, images. These introspective reports were then analyzed to identify and describe the elemental components of consciousness as well as sensory perception experiments. Structuralists conducted experiments to investigate sensory perception and the basic sensations involved. For instance, researchers presented participants with stimuli such as color, sounds, or tactile sensations and asked them to describe their immediate sensory experiences and the qualities associated with those stimuli. They also conducted reaction time studies. Reaction time experiments were conducted to understand the speed of responses to specific stimuli by measuring the time it took for individuals to react to various stimuli. Researchers aim to gain insights into the underlying cognitive processes involved in perception and decision making. Structuralists also conducted experiments to explore the nature of memory and its components. Participants were presented with various stimuli and later asked to recall or recognize the information. Through these experiments, researchers tried to understand the organization and retrieval of memories. These experiments, along with others conducted by structuralist psychologists, aim to break down conscious experiences into their basic, small elements and understand the underlying structure of the human mind. While structuralism had its limitations and faced criticism, these experiments played a role in shaping the early development of psychology as a scientific discipline. However, structuralism faced criticism for its reliance on introspection, which was seen as subjective and difficult to standardize. Critics argued that introspective reports could be influenced by personal biases, thus they are unreliable. Another criticism is the reductionist nature of structuralism. By focusing on breaking down conscious experiences into elemental components, it often overlooked the holistic nature of mental process and the interplay between different aspects of cognition. This reductionism limited its ability to capture the complexities of human psychology. Soon after this, the emergence of alternative approaches such as functionalism and behaviorism eventually led to the decline of structuralism as a dominant school of thought in psychology. So guys, this was a brief description of structuralism, a school of thought in psychology.